lots of roadblocks still. So I don't have the time. So then want to briefly talk about some of the technical issues, so to say, challenges, one could say, in the humanities. That because, so far, if you look at the market or software, well, we're one of the first institutes that even has a scientific computing department specialized for the humanities. I mean, most of the natural sciences, it's self-explaining. I mean, physicists are, of course, writing the software that runs physics experiments. But in the humanities, usually there's just the scholar and maybe there's a computer department, and most of what the scholars use or the others offer are email and a word processor and problematic at that, and maybe access to the internet. And so both it's a problem of the authors, the imagination of the scholars, what is possible, what can be possible, and the solutions which are not there because mostly, the people from the software companies say, it's not, what are you doing? You're writing a text. I mean, there's your word processor, there you go. So, for example, on bibliographical data, everybody thinks it's easy, the problem is solved, but it's not so easy. I mean, there are catalog programs for libraries, and there's catalog plugins for Word or other stuff. But if you're going a little off the beaten path, you're really encountering bigger problems. For example, if you're dealing with Islamic manuscripts, I mean, this is a typical title page of a manuscript. So there's lots of beginnings and texts about, I got this book from there and there, and then somebody else wrote on it, now I have it, and then maybe it's the title and the author written there, maybe not. Maybe you just have to look at the beginning of the text and then say, well, yeah, it seems to be this text. And so what we try to create, and all of this, of course, doesn't fit very well into the existing bibliographical programs. So what we try to construct is a database of objects, and we have, with objects, this kind we mean text, which is the abstract text of which there can exist many copies. With manuscripts, you usually have copies and copies of copies and comments on copies. And persons can be authors or can be copyists, or they can have other relations. And we try to be as flexible as possible with also the attributes. So the objects can have attributes. For text, it's also the title, it's the date when it was written, stuff like that. And the other thing which at least I found did not really exist so much in other databases, other solutions, is that we need very strong relations between these things, because a lot of the information is in the relations, so that this one text is a commentary on this other text, and this one third text is a commentary on the first text, which is a commentary on the third text, and that a text was created by a person. I mean, you could also put that in the author field, but if you also want to have other relations, like somebody was a teacher of or lived at the same time as, and another also important thing which didn't exist before was that wanted to put in something like, for 30 years everybody believed that this person was the author of this text, but now we know that he didn't. And if we just take this out of the database, then some people will just come to the database, look it up and say, well, they say this person is not the author of that title, then it must be wrong. So we want to have the possibility to say, well, very likely this person was the author, was not the author, or we know that he wasn't because of, and want to so also our relations should have attributes and be objects on their own. And quickly come back to the relational thingy. At the moment, we're trying to do that with Java and object relational mapping based on MySQL. But when we started, if I had heard of CouchDB at the time when we started that, I would have tried that. But at the moment, we try to get along with the other stuff. But it's very experimental, and if you have any knowledge in that area, please contact me. We can need any help. Then there's also the area of images. So you saw that it's a lot of it is about sources, books, paintings, drawings, so image sources, which we want to serve out over the internet. So we need to do that effectively also over low bandwidth connections or for slow computers. But we also need the possibility to really zoom in and examine details because it's necessary for the scholarly work. And other stuff also relevant to scholarly work is we want to have stable references so that when you put in a link to the image in your article and it gets published or put on the net and in 10 years, well, at least 5 years, it still should be possible to just click on that link and get to that page, and it should not give a 404 or anything else like that. And we also have other features like you can put on marks to comment on things and send that to other people. And we have special features like scaling to original size. So when you examine a drawing or painting, you might want to know how big is it really. I mean, you can maybe look that up somewhere in the metadata, but then it's still abstract. So we put in a feature that you can calibrate your screen. So it puts up a scale on your screen, and you go with a meter and measure that out, put that in. And then you can say, now show it to me in original size. And when, I mean, it would work well here for some of the architectural drawings we have, which are 1 meter by 80 centimeters. And, but if you do that on your small screen, then of course you just get the one corner of it. But still then you can better look at, was this a very fine drawing? Were they using broad colors or fine colors and stuff like that? So we developed this image server software, which is open source and put up on Berlioz, the German SourceForge analog. So this is at about how an image looks like. This is an architectural drawing, as I told you, which is in the form we use it, TIFF image of 900 megabytes, and we scale that on the fly and send it to the browser. So your browser only ever gets a scaled down image that's exactly the size you want to see it, also when you zoom in or when you see the whole image. And then you can just draw up a rectangle like you do with Photoshop or anything else and zoom into that. And here you see, well, I didn't try to go to any extremes, but you can zoom in even further. So they have around, on this 1 meter by 60, they achieved 300 dpi and are still buying better cameras. But I had problems fitting, well, we had TIFF images of 1.5 gigabytes, but